Hey everybody, welcome back to another CeX Pickup video, and today we have more Wii games. Yes, that is right, no particular order. I'm going to go through each of these. There's 6 of them, a bit more than last, but let's see where we go. So yes, let's begin with the first one on top in no particular order. We have Indiana Jones, the Staff of Kings. And they don't really make Indiana Jones games like they used to. Like nowadays, they're just like the graphics that they can do in the games, like the new Indiana Jones that is for the PS5. That looks amazing. And I grew up playing this as a kid. Like I remember playing this in other console ports, but you know, like Indiana Jones games back in the day were like nowhere near as good as they are now. I'm not saying this game's bad, but you know, it's still fun to play, especially with the Wii controls adds a bit more of a challenge to it. So like if you really want to like test your limits and patience, get the one on the Wii. It also comes with the booklet as well, so at least I can then tick this off saying that it is complete. And the disc isn't half bad, you know, just a bit of dust particles on there, but that's a really good condition. It was only £2. I reckon the price has gone up because CeX normally do that. They do put the price up sometimes, so if you see a bargain, grab it. I always check on eBay and always see the game market to see whether places are selling it, because like if they got it really cheap, because sometimes CeX make mistakes, I'll take it up on that. If it's beyond the glass cabinet, then there's no hope for a bargain, but if it's on the actual store floor, sometimes 50-50 you can get a bargain. Right, we have Buckaroo, Battle of Brawlers. I only got this for my collection. I don't know much about it. It's £3, but I have no idea. Looking at the back, it looks like a board game type of stuff, like you would expect from Mario Party. I have no idea, but for £3, you know, you get what you pay for, I suppose. Right, next we have Dragon Quest Swords, and this is the Masked Queen and the Tower of Mirrors, which I got for £5. So very, very lucky to find this in my CeX store, because sometimes they don't really have any new stuff. You have to go on the CeX website and then pay the shipping fee for each individual item, which is the worst ever. Instead of a set shipping fee for the entire basket, you pay the shipping fee for each individual item that's in your basket, because, you know, they're tight. But I've really got into my Dragon Quest games right at the moment. I have Dragon Quest 1, 2 and 3 Classic Edition on the Nintendo Switch physical. I also pre-ordered and ordered both of the Dragon Quest 3 HD Remake and also the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD Remake for my collection. I also have other Dragon Quest games for the Nintendo Switch. So I thought, you know, add to that collection, because some, you know, open RPG games have been really interesting, and Dragon Quest is unique in many aspects. It's probably my favourite series to play. I feel like it's on par with Final Fantasy for me. That's just maybe my personal preference. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but I'm like, each title has a riveting story and it just makes you connect with the characters, and that's what I love. It's like a Xenoblade Chronicles. It just hits you somewhere different. Hours and hours of gameplay, and you always find something new when you come back to it. The next one, we have Spider-Man Friend or Foe for £5, and I thought, you know what, it's £5, I'm just going to buy it. I probably do have this in my collection. I can't actually remember. Sometimes I see a title that I can't remember if I picked up or not, and so it weighs on my mind, do I have this or not? And I do have an app that keeps track of my games, but sometimes you will forget. So what I tend to do is that I will buy it, and if I do have a duplicate of it, I can always resell it. There's always an option, but you know, sometimes in that moment I can't remember every title that I have, especially when you've got over 300. It's very hard to remember every single title. There's some titles that will just trigger in your mind, but then there'll be some where you're like, do I have this or do I not? And if I say, I think I might have it, and I go back home and you find it, you don't, and when you go back there the next day, it's not there, it sinks in, I should have just brought it. You know, it was £5. And it has the booklet as well. Alright, our next game is Casper's Scare School, which is the spooky Sports Day for £1. Only £1, and I thought, you know what, I know I definitely don't have this. I would remember a Casper game in my collection. I think this is just a standard generic Wii title, not much of a revealing story. But I thought, you know, nonetheless, I might as well just buy it. It's a one-player game, so you can't really play it with friends unless you share the Wii remote. For £1, I'm not asking for much. Now, we are down to our last Wii game for today's video. Can you guess what it is? No, good, you're all wrong. It is The Legend of Spyro, Dawn of the Dragon. Yep, that is right, I have the worst Spyro game in existence. I feel like the Legend of series of Spyro are the worst in its entirety. And I love the original trilogy of Spyro. Spyro the Dragon, Spyro Gateway to Glimmer, and Spyro Year of the Dragon. 3 amazing titles. And even their remakes are superb. And then we have Enter the Dragonfly, which I thought was the worst broken game imaginable. It probably still is the most broken game imaginable. But I didn't think anything can get worse. We had Hero's Tale, which made up for that. And then they reboot the entire series with the Legend of Spyro series, where they try and reboot the character in their new image of where they want to go. And they ruined it. It's like they took a shit on my childhood. And it was degrading. It was the worst series I've ever played, and probably the Dawn of the Dragon didn't really make no sense. I had it for the Xbox 360. I still got it for the 360, and the most expensive one on that version. But it was just pathetic. I never liked any of the 3 trilogies. You're trying to compare the Legend of Spyro trilogies to the original Spyro the Dragon trilogies. You're not going to actually get anywhere close to a 1% of their perfection. You know, some people might say, oh, it wasn't that bad, it's still playable. Yeah, it's still playable, but the story was shit, the graphics looked terrible, Sparks talking ruined it, Hunter looked horrible as hell, creepy, like a pervert. I'm just saying, like, none of it made really any sense. You didn't really need a talking dragonfly. Okay, Sparks did speak in the original, but only as text boxes. We didn't actually hear his voice, and if he did speak, he wouldn't, like, you know, be like that. At least, Enter the Dragonfly, they tried to continue on from Spyro 3, they did a poor job of it, but it still felt like a good generic Spyro game. Whereas the series didn't. And so, you know what, I thought I'd buy it for the Wii. Let's see what the Wii controls are like. And, you know, you do get 2-player, you can play with the second character as well. But, you know, I'm just saying, like, why would you want to? I can barely stand this game myself, let alone find someone else to suffer with me. So yeah, sometimes on my days off I play terrible games like these, and I try in my best to complete them, just so I can say that, you know, I did, but it just doesn't work. Like, look at that. I don't know what they were thinking. And it was £5 for the Wii. Like, I need it for my collection, but do I like it? No. Do I want there to be more of it? No. If they were going to redo a Spyro sequel, I really hope Spyro 4 lives up to that in name. I know it's rumoured, it might be around the corner, it might not never happen, but the belief is that if they do a Spyro 4, at least it won't be as garbage as this. Heck, I even hope they might remake Enter the Dragonfly just so we can have a game that doesn't bug out every few seconds, or have the longest loading screens I've ever waited through. Right, well, that's it for today's pickup video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Please maybe like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I'll see you next time. And until then, take care.